Hello, creative friends. Our Stampin' blends lend themselves well to doing watercolor painting, and doing a wash style background is an easy way to try watercoloring. My name is Kay Jett. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from East Central Indiana. Today we're going to do another card using the Coffee with Friends stamp set that can be found in the annual catalog. Here's the card we'll be making, and it uses a wash kind of background, so it looks like the two girls are having coffee at the seaside. I also used a couple of stamps from the beach day, which can be found in the mini catalog. I used the shells at the bottom of the card, and I also used the seagulls, because whenever there's food, there's seagulls. Last time I showed you how to use the Stampin' blends to color in people and how to cut them out intricately, so I won't cover that today. I've already colored the pair of girls having coffee and cut them out so we can move on to another technique today. I also used the pecan pie stamping pad to stamp out the sentiment for the front. It says, "Coffee with a friend is like happiness in a cup." And then I used the Baker's Twine 3-color pack to do a double bow. In the example, I used the linen thread, and I just thought I'd use a different color. So I used these Stampin' blends to color up the girls, and these are found in the cutting directions on my Facebook page, Kay's Creative Arts. So I'll just go ahead and move these out of the way. The supplies for this card are a 4¼ by 11-inch piece of cardstock that's been scored at 5½, and the card will open to the side. Mat number 1 is 4 inches by 5¼ inches. Mat number 2 is 3¾ inches by 5 inches. The inside of the card is 3¾ by 5 inches. And then I have a scrap for stamping and die cutting. And then I used the Fluid 100 watercolor paper to do my watercoloring on. Let's go ahead and get the inside of the card finished. The inside of the card, again, used the pecan pie, and the 2 stamps that I used are from the Coffee with Friends set. It's the Coffee with the Croissants and Let's Get Together Soon. So we will start with that. And these are the red rubber stamps, so they don't need me to use the Stampin' Pierce mat. I can go ahead and stamp directly onto my cardstock. So let's get together soon. And then coffee and croissants. Here. And then I'll go ahead and affix those to the inside of the card. And we have about 1/4 of an inch reveal on the inside of the card for a change. There. And then for the watercoloring, I'm going to want to use my silicone mat. And I'm also going to be using the spritzer and one of the watercolor brushes. These make watercoloring so simple. I don't have to have a loose cup of water sitting nearby. Let me get out one of our watercolor papers. And these can be cut down to 3.5 by 5, because I don't need to do the entire piece. These are actually 5 by 7. So we'll be just watercoloring on half of it. The colors I'm going to use today are Lost Lagoon, Lemon Lolly, Petal Pink, and Balmy Blue. I'm going to do the Lost Lagoon for the ocean. And what I like to do when I'm watercoloring is to put a little bit of the ink on one of the blocks. And that way I'm not having to worry about squeezing my inks and getting a mess in the top. Some people will squeeze them and then they end up with some ink down here. And I just am not strong enough to get enough ink on the lid of my stamping pad. So because this is a wash, I'm going to start first by spritzing the entire page. We don't want it super wet, but we do want it damp. And so I'll do that, and then with the tissue kind of dry off some of the excess water. With the watercolor inks, or watercolor brushes, the water is already located inside the brush, so all I have to do is squeeze out a little bit of water. Then I can make myself a nice pool of water to watercolor with. This is the ocean, and so that's about the only line that needs to be somewhat horizontal. So I'll choose my horizon about right here. And then I can watercolor on down. If I want to make it a little bit lighter, I can add some more water from the brush. And since we have waves coming in into the shore, that can be somewhat irregular. For the sand, I'm going to use the crumb cake. Again, I'll put a little bit of ink on a stamping pad. And then I'm going to just take this on down to the base of my paper here. To clean off the brush, just squeeze a little bit of water through the tip and wipe the tip off. They clean up really fast. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of sunshine coming up with the lemon lolly and close up my crumb cake. And grab another block here. Don't need a lot of this because I'm just basically doing a little ball of the yellow coming up here. And then I'm adding in a bit of the petal pink for sunrise. Yes, I know the old sailor store rhyme, red sky at night, sailor's delight, red sky at morning, sailors be warning, because that's usually a pretty good indicator we're going to have rain today. And it's all right with me if it blends in with the orange or with the yellow a little bit. You can always come back and add a bit more yellow. And then adding balmy blue. For the sky. And our watercolor will be done. This didn't take long at all. I'll take the balmy blue all the way up to the top of the paper. And here where it runs into the pink, we get a little bit of that purplish color. So you get an interesting looking sunshine there. Lost my horizon, but it is water, so it is coming up and down. So great. Now you want to let this dry before you put it into your card. So I've already finished one. After it dries, you can see it dries a little bit lighter. So I will set this aside and use this for yet another card. And we'll clean up the mess I made here. And now we can start putting the card together. Okay. This watercolor picture can be trimmed down to 3.5 by 4 3/4 now that it's dry. I better close the lid on my balmy blue before I end up with balmy blue all over the place. And so I'll take off about 1/8 of an inch on one side of the paper and 1/8 of an inch off the other side of the paper. And it should come out to be about 4 3/4. Okay, so we'll start with our matte 2 and glue our watercolor to matte 2. And we have a bit of a reveal on that. Then we'll glue this one to matte 1. And then this whole thing gets glued to the front of our card. Okay, I'm going to use some dimensionals on the back of our girls. And I'll switch over here to some of the smaller ones as well. That way I can put some down here along the bottom. And these girls, I went ahead and brought them all the way down here to the bottom of our mat number 2, which was the yellow mat. Then with the crumb cake, I added some of the shells to the card just to kind of fill in this bottom area. They are at the seashore, so yes, they will have some shells showing in the sand. Sentiment I will also put up on dimensionals. Set that up here in the sky. There. And then I'll need a glue dot for my bow. And the nice thing about glue dots, you can roll them into as small a bit as possible, or as you need. They're nice and strong, so they hold anything in place. But yeah, you can make them real small so that they don't show. There. Coffee with a friend is like happiness in a cup. And then I added the seagull. I stamped him. If I can get him out of the tray. I stamped him with a little bit of tuxedo black, and then we're going to may as well put him up on a dimensional as well. I'm going to use one of the small ones. And I think I needed to cut that in half. Small wasn't quite as small enough. And we'll put him in the sky. There we go. Our card is finished, even with the inside. So the next couple of weeks, I'm going to focus on the Latte Love, still working in coffee. And the Latte Love will be from the online exclusives. I already made the card for next time, and I used some of the embossing paste in it. So you might want to, when you're able to order your Latte Love from the online exclusives on March 6th, then you might want to pick up a jar of the embossing paste as well, because it's fun stuff to use, and it really has its place in card making. So I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. And remember to be creative every day. Bye now.